a creature born of my nightmares, I don't know what is.
Hello and welcome to session 27 of my Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire Lorethrough. We are currently at Sayuka. We got into a bit of trouble last time. We had been out on the open waters for quite a while. Our morale has dropped a little bit. It's down to 56. And we were running out of food. We got disease. So there was a lot of bad things that happened at the end of last session. But we were able to make it to Sayuka to resupply ourselves and to rest and everything. So hopefully we can turn that around fairly quickly. I did want to say too, before we actually start today, that I cheated and I looked up where the third island was that we had to explore for Sansa. He wanted us to explore 3 islands around Tikawara, and I went to this island a few times where the Hall of the Unseen, and I didn't think that was it because I thought that that was a DLC, the Forgotten Sanctum DLC. It still might be, but that was the island that I need to explore and name in order to complete that next part of Sansa's quest. So I just wanted to make sure I said that, but I also want to say that we're not going to be going there this session. This is getting into, like, by the time you see this, by the time I release this, I mean, it will be January of 2025, which means we're getting really close to the release of Avowed. So I think what I want to do today is to start doing some of the critical path to push forward the main story so that we can hopefully at least finish that up before Avowed's release, and then we can go do the DLCs and some of the extra stuff after Avowed has released, just in case anybody who wants to play Avowed and doesn't necessarily want to play either of the Pillars of Eternity games, which, by the way, I would recommend you play them, but whatever. If you don't want to do that, or you don't have the time or money or whatever, then I would like to finish the main story of Avowed so we could see what happens at the end, because as we are led to believe, the end of Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire will at least play a role in the story of Avowed. It won't be like the main focus or anything like that, but we will be playing in a world that is affected by the events that happen at the end of this game. So I wanted to actually move the critical path forward. Before we do that, though, I wanted to read the next section of the Saints and Relics. Last time we read Canonization and Enshrinement, where we learned that the saints in Eora are not necessarily recognized by the churches of Eora. Every once in a while, when a saint is especially venerated, then the church will recognize them, but often they seem to be more individual, or at least in smaller groups that they honor the saints of Eora. This time we are going to actually talk about one of these saints, who is called Saint Kamatu the White. The infamy of Saint Kamatu began with his birth. Having come into the world with depleted white hair and ragged skin of an elder, none of his tribal midwives expected him to survive. When he pulled through and grew healthy, however, Wataru priests struggled to judge his caste on the basis of his soul, and so left him to be raised with his Reparo mother. As the years passed and he developed through childhood, he never stood taller than 4 feet, which is an abnormality by Amawa standards. Yeah, it is. Wow. Misfortune also followed him like a shroud. By his 5th year, the crops had failed, injuries and sickness became more common, and the children were stillborn at an unprecedented rate. By his 5th year, the crops had failed, injuries and sickness became more common, and children were stillborn at an unprecedented... I was going to say maybe that's related to Hollowborn, but it actually says stillborn, so that's different. This progressed at such a point that the priests eventually blamed Kamatu, late in judging his birth as a bad omen and the harbinger of their decline. His coming was determined to be an omen from Remergond, whose mortal servant delivered entropy to the tribe's otherwise stable existence. While the priests spent months arguing over the matter and speculating on the will of the gods, the resources of the island quickly depleted. The tribe sailed off to the next land in the regular circuit, praying that good fortune lay ahead. That's something that the Huana wanted to do. They moved to an island. They kind of set up there for a little while until the resources that they need to survive become, I don't want to say completely depleted, but they are used up to an extent, and then they will pack up and move to another place so that this area so that the previous area can kind of replenish itself in their absence, and then eventually they will go back there. But that's kind of like the smaller tribal way of Huana life. We have more recently, since the incursion of the Rawatayans and especially the Valiant Trading Company in the Deadfire Archipelago, we see that they have set up a kind of huge city-state in Neketaka that's kind of a response to that, because now all of a sudden they have money and they have resources and they are able to afford at least the higher castes are able to afford things that they wouldn't have been able to before. But these smaller tribes still practice this of moving from island to island as the resources deplete, so that they can come back to it eventually after they have had time to replenish. Okay, moving on. While the priest spent months arguing over the matter and speculating on the will of the gods, the resources of the island quickly depleted. The tribe sailed off to the next land on the regular circuit, praying that good fortune lay ahead. Loath to bring the troublesome boy, they left Kamatu behind to fend for himself. Shortly after the tribe abandoned their village, the Royal Deadfire Company armada appeared on the horizon, heavily armed and intent on making landfall after their long journey. They arrived on abandoned beaches and set to work establishing a settlement, covering the footprints of the tribe, which had so recently vacated it. Covering the footprints of the tribe, so it looks like Deadfire Company, the Royal Deadfire Company, when they happen upon one of these abandoned settlements, they don't just kind of set up shop there, they also try to erase the signs of previous life there, of a previous tribe there. Interesting. Interpretations of Kamatu's story and the meaning of his existence diverge. Though he was originally seen as a harbinger of misfortune, the arrival of Rawatayan forces challenged many of those early assumptions. Some have come around to seeing Kamatu as an unlikely savior, both for ushering his tribe away from a soon-to-be beleaguered island and blighting the lands to make them all but uninhabitable to the foreign threat. No matter the interpretation of the story, Saint Kamatu's tribe saw only the worst in him, and he never returned to Huana tribal culture. So it seems like after they left him there, they abandoned him there, he was actually, that's when he became a little bit more venerated, because it seemed like because of his presence, the resources remained depleted for the Royal Deadfire Company living there. And the Huana tribe thought that maybe that was a good thing, although apparently not Kamatu's actual tribe there. The people that came later are maybe other Huana tribes. All right. So, like I said, we are currently at Sayuka, stocked up, and yeah, let's move this critical path forward. So next thing we have to do, it says, I spoke with Eothas in the ruins of Hasango, but was unable to divert him from his machinations. He bade me to meet with him at a luminous Audra a chain of volcanic islands called Mogren's Teeth. If I want to know more about his intentions, I'll have to join him there. And we have to rendezvous with Eothas in Ashen Maw. And Ashen Maw is up here. We see Mogren's Teeth. That's the name of these islands here. And Ashen Maw is right here. So let's make our way to Ashen Maw. I was going to say let's be careful of that storm, but we actually need to... we need to encounter a storm in order to improve Adair's soulbound weapon, although we should probably wait for our morale to be a little bit higher before we do that. Speed it up from here. There we go. Oh. So this is a Rathun longship. We have not met the Rathun yet. They They are a level below us, so let's board them. Attacking us, so let's attack them. We see they are giants.
Stand together!
I was worried about that. Thought we rested, but apparently we didn't, so we don't have any summons. Hopefully this goes okay.
Need some What can I do? That order's too This is futile! Very well.
They look scary. It wasn't too bad though. And some morale. Definitely going to share some coins with the crew. Got some more morale. Okay, good. We're back up to 83. We have some Primal Flames. We have a Triumph of Drexed. Personal Triumph of Rhetorix, Captain of the Drexu. And Agate. Okay. So barely skirted this storm here. 83. Before we do that, bestiary, ordeals. Wilder. Soon. We have fanatics and flame callers, but I probably get the same thing. So this is the Rathun here. We see a picture of, I'm guessing, a human kith there. Maybe it's Elven, but either way, no matter what they are, these Rathun are compared to them. An isolated and extremely hostile race. Not much is known as the Rathun, who guard a chain of islands named Mogren's Teeth. These fire giants are fiercely devoted to the goddess of war, and some believe it was Mogren herself who formed them from Eora's soil and her own flames. Self-proclaimed champions of the goddess, they will fight to the death rather than submit to any kith. If ever you spy one of their longboats on the open sea, bow face and sail full tilt away. Rathun preferred to take a ship's crew alive so they may be sacrificed to the ancient in the volcano. So they are Mogren worshippers, and this here, where it says that Mogren herself formed them from Eora's soil, suggests that they could possibly be what's called mage folk, which is why I was having trouble finding them here. They are listed as wilders, but I believe they might actually be mage folk, which are basically like the last game's eyeless. They are created by gods to serve some kind of purpose, but people here aren't exactly sure if that's what's up with it. That's a guess, but they might not actually. And yeah, I think I'm going to head into the storm. Clouds darken in the distance, piling one atop the next as if in a battle for superiority. A vision-searing thread of lightning forks between sea and sky, followed almost immediately by a rib-rattling crash of thunder. Naya swallows. God's alive, Captain. Did you offend Andra herself? If that's not a manifestation of her fury, I don't know what is. Bosun casts an eye across the deck. You shouldn't try to wait out a storm like that. A big wave is too likely to roll the whole damn ship and drown us all. Our best hope? To outrun it. The crew looks to you. Your orders? Oh, so I have to raise Lord Darren's Vogue to the sky. Okay. Take us into the storm. Well, actually, let's see if we can assign crew duties first. Going to, again, spend a rope and grappling hook so that he Beedel doesn't go overboard. I've read that before, so I didn't read it again. Gonna hand out the last of the cooked food. This is... Oh, wait. Let's see. Reef the sails. Handling in heavy winds. Ramp the rain barrels. Secure the cargo. This decreases the likelihood of crew injury and hold. So let's secure the cargo. And there we go. Okay, I got worried that we wouldn't be able to raise Lord Darren's Volk to the sky. The crew looked at one another before setting to the task. Aston Min's bow turns into the storm, sliding into the rain as if passing through a veil. The ship comes to troubled rest under the tormented skies. Lightning stabs across the clouds. You climb into the rigging, grasping tightly to the lines with one hand while thrusting the bulge. Am I pronouncing that right? Bulge? Skyward with the other. The binding blue-violet arcs seem only feet away. As Aston Min crests a swell, it pushes you toward the raging elements above, and they deign to meet you, a ragged fork of energy falling from the clouds like a headsman's axe. The lightning strikes the weapon, running through it and into you. Sparks fly from your limbs as the whole of the world goes white around you and blooms of violent burst behind your eyes. When your sight returns, the sea is calm. Oh. The clouds form a smooth gray blanket above. The Volge seems heavier, as if the weight of the storm resides within. You descend from the rigging to the cheers and clapping of the crew. Oh, nice. So we didn't have to worry about all that setting up. And next I need to deal 30 critical hits with this weapon. Again, I'm not going to read it until after I complete it. And I did that. I was not expecting that. And these Rathun really don't like us.
Yeah!
Now can happy. That was about as useful as a bump on a pickle. Let's reap this whirlwind.
Looks like they're not doing anything.
Not happening.
We already got 100 morale now. Love it. This is the Triumph of Falsud, the personal triumphs of Luvara, captain of the Falsud. Some marine, some agate, and some currency. Any more Rathun want to challenge me? No, it doesn't look like it. Okay. Little bit south east of that. Let's see what's here. Combat encounter here. Yes, it's a bounty. Skulls over the head, so we should be able to take them. Oh, first let's level up. Here, gaining some insight. Got the level 8 deception spell, so instead start improving some of my defense. I'll improve my fortitude defense. Legion. Anna. Ignites a powerful zeal within allies that manifests in an aura that shocks any enemies near them. Its missile. Through force of will, the priest can destroy any spirit or vessel creature below the priest level. Spirit and vessel creatures equal to or greater than the priest level take raw to. Ooh. I remember I have that. And physics and explosives. Let's see. Let's give him more in power uses. So that when he runs out of spells, he can replenish his spell slots. Okay. That's everybody.
Stand together. Could be true.
Get threshed! That dog won't hunt.
Spell.
That's not very helpful.
Say your prayers.
It's my fault for waiting so long, but nearly as imposing as they appear. Unlar's failings. Lord Shield. Long before the founding of the Aedir Empire, the tribal lords of the Aedir Kingdom pledged their service to the Fairkuning, the first king. One such king, Bronlar, also served as a theater general. He led an elite detachment of pikemen across a pikemen known as the Thorned Wall. Unlike the Fairkuning's personal guard unit, the Tall Grass, Bronlar's soldiers had little use for the trappings of ceremony. They needed only their shields and spears. When conflict with the Kulklin loomed into war, Bronlar received words of enemies marching on the strategically vital bridge of Skurbane. With no time for dispatches, he marched with his single phalanx to hold the crossing. There, his force was met by a horde of hostile warriors on the opposite bank, but numbered at least 5 to 1, Bronlar issued a single imperative. None shall cross. The Thorned Wall never gave an inch, even as they began to fall. Casualties mounting, Bronlar knew his shield wall could not hold forever, so he ordered his men to withdraw and to burn the bridge. Warrior King was last seen holding off the advancing enemy force single-handedly, even as the flames enveloped him. His shield, blackened and broken, was later recovered. It now serves as a symbol of enduring courage and commitment to duty. What is it doing in the hands of a Rathun guy? Maybe this, he's a bounty, maybe. Killed Dirin shield. And because of that, it grants deflection as health decreases. It grants stand guard, which increases deflection as health is lost, and it grants tactical. Once per encounter, you can have the smart inspiration when engaged in combat. Okay. Some discipline and some currency. Yeah. I also got Ernox Brainth's head. Took a large shipboard grain sack to bag Brainth's massive head, but the deed is done. Soon Ernox's burning blood has singed several holes in the burlap. With some luck, it will hold until you can convince someone to take it off your hands.
Certainly.
now. Thick smoke, black as death, plumes from the peak of a rumbling volcano, the largest in the chain of mountains that makes up Magran's teeth. A serrated fissure gapes at the mountainside, deep and dark but intermittently lit by a red-hot glow. The cavernous opening is too narrow for Aston Min to sail through. The skiff sways tumultuously at the superheated water, and the closer you row to the cave's cracked opening. So we had to get off the ship and row there. Lava burbles down from the mountainside, scorching rivers that disappear into the dark blue sea. Inside the rock face, the sound of churning magma grows louder, and the air warms around you, beating sweat along your brow.
We're gone, stormed through? At least the docks are still intact.
Here we are. This is the Sentinel Wall, the Rathun docks. This is the Ashen Maw. The hull of this longboat has been varnished with flame-resistant amalgam.
Of course.
Though ashen, the skin of this dead giant remains too hot to touch. Or hot to the touch. Though, as we see so often when Eothas makes his... Whoa! As we see so often as Eothas makes his way through, the people are stripped of their souls and they're kind of like leftover husks. The reason I said whoa and I was surprised is because of this here. This is Eothas, who is touching the Audra pillar. You can see his glowing head. He's standing in this volcano here in the lava. That is an imposing sight. Angry troll. That's a pet. Grog the angry troll. While Grog is following you around, you receive a bonus to resolve. Major healing, oil, and Phoenix.
Well, your welcome's better than a bad one.
Indeed.
The burned remains of these prisoners wear the tatters of a sailor's garb. Lockpicks and potion of physical prowess. Let's take a screenshot of that. Dune Vanguard. Down and out, it looks like. Slumped against the stones of the bridge, a giant clutches at his bashed-in chest. It's a mess of sinew and blackened iron bones, fiery blood flickering between his splayed fingers. Thickly rasping a breath, the warrior lifts his heated gaze to your face.
Extinguished or crushed. Us all, Defiler.
He struggles to speak. The agony of a slow death blazes through the scrawls in his skin, shrouding him with a veil of fire. We can mercy kill him, but let's see. What happened to you?
Damned Reaper of Souls and God of Lies. Magran's most foul enemy.
Eothas. More bloodfire licks from the Rathun's cracked chest, slowly charring his arm. I need to get to Eothas.
Servants of the Defiler God. Damn you.
Chokes, liquid fire trickling from his lips. Okay. So I'm gonna mercy kill him. Drink this, and rest easy. He closes his ember-hot eyes, a relieved sigh rushing from his chest as you brew up and then tip a vial of poison to his lips. The icy, slushy mixture takes effect immediately, dousing his flames with a sweep of hoarfrost through his veins. It leaves his face cold and ashen and dead. He lost rune power, sapphire, primer water, and a reagent. Wow.
Well, that was worth doing, even if we got nothing in return.
Jody swings her lantern back and forth over the warrior's body until a large shimmering cloud of essence sifts up and into her lantern. She grunts, the lantern dipping into her hand as if heavier momentarily. Eothas just leveled up. Why do I keep saying Eothas? Adair leveled up. Survival and athletics. I like this inspired discipline here. Gather your thoughts and channel your strength into a state of pure, focused discipline. Granting all first-tier inspirations for a short time. Strong, fit, quick, insightful, smart, and steadfast. Foot just got caught up in a wire, that's why I paused there. Mother of Pearl. These bodies do grant us, give us something. This one. It's windlass. It's far too massive and heavy for a kith to operate.
Nothing good comes from this much quiet.
We are currently in the Sentinel Wall. Hammer. Pry bar. Got a shell string. Currency.
I'll try my best. Hope that helps.
That lock.
Kith trespasses in the goddess's maw? But how?
Incensed, the giant warrior hulks. Her thick muscles twitch, red markings glowing hotly against her ashen skin.
You must seek to follow in your defiler god's footsteps. You will not, for I will smite you where you stand!
Bellowing, she hefts a massive sword overhead. But a second giant slams the haft of his iron staff into a warrior's hard-muscled stomach, abruptly halting her attack.
Hold, Sega! I would speak to this filthy minion of the wretched god Eothas.
Segroth, the Rathun word for a blooded warrior.
Before you char his bones to dust.
I'm no friend of Eothas. He stole a piece of my soul, and I mean to get it back.
Ha! You think to confront an embodied god? Then you are either powerful beyond comprehension, or as much a fool.
Pants his head, broad fingers scratching at the rivets of his helm.
Yet you imply you do not serve him.
First giant's grip turns white-knuckled on the hilt of her sword. Her muscles strain and the metal quivers in her hand.
Rakir, move! We cannot allow these intruders to live!
Again, she thrusts the sword high. Rakir, a Rathun word for an unblooded warrior. Oh, so that sounds like it's kind of an insult. That first one, Segroth, was a blooded warrior, but Rakir is unblooded. So I don't know if that's an insult or if that's it's just a term that people use to describe somebody like him. The shrug of his meaty shoulders, he steps aside. Alright, so this is metaphysics, religion, or insight. Let's try this first one. Eothas has consumed your warrior's very souls, but I've faced him before. and am still standing. Shoulders taut with tension, the warrior eyes the strewn corpses of his fellow Rathun at arms. They lie like dried husks, siphoned of their souls. He places a hand out to hold the warrior back. He studies you intently.
You would face us in battle rather than flee? I like your mettle. Kethu does not cower before Margren's greatest warriors. We have not yet defeated the embodied god, but that does not mean we won't. The Drotsiger is readying another assault from within the Jagged Keep as we speak.
Okay, so he said Drotsiger, but the word here is Bathor, the equivalent of a warlord. The title is bestowed upon the most skilled warrior among the Rathun, a position earned through battle. So Drotsiger, or I don't know if maybe that was changed. Maybe Drotsiger is like a different word. It means something other than a warlord, or they changed the meaning of this word while they were making the game, after they had the voice acting.
I will permit you to scamper closer to God's face, if you believe you can survive. Scurry deeper into the maw, but know that my brethren may squash you.
The warrior Magren plans to erupt this volcano. If you stay, you'll die. He hefts the meaty shoulders in a heavy shrug.
Our duty is foremost to Margren. We guard the maw to its fiery end.
Plan to attack Eothas?
First, we recover the wounded and their weapons. Drag them into the Jagged Keep.
Nods.
And then we will kill a god.
Smacking the head of his staff against his chest, he bears you a garish grin. How can I reach Eothas?
All who neared the intruder god were gutted until extinguished. You think your soul could last even half so long as Rathun's?
Maybe the gifts will last longer.
He snorts, but the other warrior ignores her, answering in her stead.
Only Margren's shrine with our Jagged Keep can lead you to the Defiler God. Kith, if Margren wishes you to face him, surely she will fire the way.
Okay, so basically leaving it up to Magren.
Help me with the bodies, but this time gentle your grip.
It can't be helped, Rakir. These fallen are brittle.
Indeed.
Steal. Okay, so we got an update to the quest here. Was speaking with the Rathun's warlord, the Bathor, within his Jagged Keep may gain me a route to meet with Eothas. It's the Ashen Fortress Bridge. Let's finish exploring this area.
Reckon this is what happens when you try to keep a god from enacting his plans.
Ishi, now is the chance if you had any second thoughts about this place.
Ashen key. This key has been forged from a coal-colored alloy. The metal is hot to the touch, and the key easily spans the length of Kif's forearm. Probably the key we needed to unlock that gate that we just picked the lock of. The rock slide has collapsed to this section of the keep. Some grog and lockpicks.
Well, if you insist, there you go.
It's a reliability, a potion for healing, and copper pyres. Alright, so we gotta head down here now. To Eothas through the Jagged Keep.
About that?
Ain't the volcanoes in Mogren's Teeth supposed to be inactive? I got a bad feeling this one's waking up.
So again, this worry that Mogren's up to the volcano. See even more of Eothas here. You see the hands. Very striking, this place. music is new too.
Indeed.
They're with gone now.
Be careful.
Confound it! That usually works.
Flame bites.
I'm here. Are we hitting the water? Right on target. Stand together!
In blood. Seen before.
Happily.
Deep gashes mar this Rathun's armor and flesh. Loose grit and jagged boulder chunks litter the broken section of this bridge. This is the Ashen Bridge. This is Lair of the Ancient, and this is keep first.
You spend your whole life thinking you're a giant. And one day that fella shows up at your fortress.
That was awfully profound.
Spotting you, the strapping warrior slams her shield against the floor, rattling the stones beneath your feet. Must be one of them up here.
Scurriers in my keep! Make ready to be crushed, vermin of Eothas!
Wait, hear me out first. She stills, red scrawls in her skin flickering as she grimly appraises you.
Nay, I will not risk the spread of the Defiler's filth during this time of crisis.
She readies her sword.
May Margaret forever burn your soul in agony. You'll find no mercy in the Everflame.
Civilians. Lava beyond.
I want to get in a fight with her. Don't give me much choice. I leveled up. Nothing alchemy. Several powerful inspirations to both her and her animal companion with Bonded Fury. That? Oh, I can choose two here. She must be a level below everybody else. Well, let's do this. When a ranger or their animal companion are knocked out, the partner suffers the normal effects of the bonded grief, but becomes filled with focused rage for a short duration. While affected, they gain the nimble and tenacious inspirations. What is bonded grief? Rangers share a literal life bond with their animal companion. When it's wounded, they can sense it and feel intense emotional pain. If a ranger or animal companion are knocked unconscious, the partner suffers from bonded grief, affecting accuracy and other stats until the downed ally is revived. Ranger is ever killed, the animal companion immediately dies from grief. Okay, so we still get those effects, but we also get some inspirations out of like a desire for revenge. give her something with a melee. Would be appropriate for her. Got a spear. Let's do a club. I feel like nobody has clubs.
Who's right primed for a bashing?
Of course.
Danger healing. Yep. I don't want to fight them yet.
Harvest is here.
The Rathun are preparing for an assault against Eothas from within the Jagged Keep. They await the return of their priestess, the Brenthis, before they strike. In any case, the Brenthis will return soon. Okay. To not fight my way through them all, but
John.
go to the other place first. Gashes mar this Rathun's armor flesh. This is the Lair of the Ancient.
Someone's up.
Pause and it said someone's over there, but I don't. Oh wait. Oh, it's great. Flame blight and.
Be careful.
Alright, so we have faced a couple new versions of enemies. We just got Magma Ooze, and we got, what was the other thing? Flame Bats. So let's see. I'm gonna guess that there's no difference. Yeah, this is just the blanket bat description. And Ooze. Yeah, okay. So they do have different weaknesses and stuff like that, but there's no different lore for a magma ooze versus other kinds of ooze. Same thing with the bats.
I'm thinking this place ain't gonna hold up much longer. What say we hurry, Watcher?
This does not sound good. Faye, 'tis a right foul stench.
This place smells and feels like hell in the stories Uncle Angbert used to tell me to make me behave as a child.
This is the priestess they were waiting for.
Happily.
A haze of soul essence sifts up like smoke from a corpse scored with heavy claw marks. Oddly, no blood pools beneath the body. The wounds have been cauterized. Reach for the soul. Hot to the touch, the essence slowly wafts through your fingers. Then you're tumbling down into the feverish sensation. Soul read. You are a great champion, a Goliath among giants, your chest tight with pride. And now something darker, a strange dread. It flickers inside of you like the fires of a waking forge, because you know you too are soon to be tempered as you stare down upon the distant god. The defiler your brothers and sisters died to defeat but could not, who now gluts with the Adraspire, breaking plans against Margaret. The iron chains that suspend the bridge beneath your feet drip blood and sweat. Weeping, The Maw spans below, battered by the invader. The Jagged keep, now ever more apt in name. He cut a path to the spire and could not be stopped. He drank deeply from so many of you. The Bounties watches beside you. He is fierce and will know what to do. She can hear Mogren within the flames. Without further delay, she hastens you to the dragon's lair. She will call the beast, and it will ride with you into the assault. Inside, the cavern is dark and simmering. The Bounties is the high priest. Okay, so this person is not the high priestess. They are just working with. They are with the Bounties. The Bounties rushes ahead of you, despite your barked warning. Something is wrong. The heat roils against your skin, a whisper of death, dangerous rather than comforting. The Defiler god has riled the dragon. The Bounties has raised her torch high, as if to collar the dragon, the light of it sheening her helm, her torque high, the light of it sheening her helm in the darkness. She is thundering. The time has come, Jada. Submit to Mogren's will. And the walls rumble from a sudden earthquake. No, from the beast's laughter. A shadow looms to your left. The scalding claws punch through your skin.
Rest now, warrior. Your soul is safe with me.
Shodi bows her head as she drags her lantern over the corpse from head to foot and back again. When she reaches the Rathun's punctured chest, his soul lifts up from the body and drifts toward the lantern. With a shudder, it settles inside the copper cage. So they were trying to communicate with a dragon, I'm going to guess, in an effort to fight Eothas.
Of course.
Hammer and chisel, and a potion of moderate healing.
If that ain't a creature born of my nightmares, I don't know what is.
Man, the dragons in this game look so cool. A creature of smoke and scales, embers and talons looms up from the darkness. Her back and ribs gleam luridly, red as the lake of fire that laps at her feet. She hisses, a sound like rocks grating together in her throat. And though her peeled back lips form no words, you understand.
Who comes now to stoke the flames of chaos further?
This is Eothas the Ancient. Oh, so... okay, so when they said Yada, that's what they were referring to the dragon there. I thought it was the person's name. The Rathun's name.
Have I not yet feasted enough? I suppose I can make room for another.
No, that can't be healthy.
Just realized how lucky we are to have never run across a sewer dragon.
Shodi chokes on a scream. A dry laugh crackles from the dragon's thick-scaled throat. The Rathun summoned you, so you attacked them?
We struck a deal. Eons ago. I did with a wily Bounties. It's true these Rathun fed me exquisitely for so long. But today, they sought my wings like a firestorm to battle. My fangs like hot spears to pierce a god. I am the heart of the fire. I cannot be controlled. Not by a giant's weak will, and not by a sputtering trinket.
Let's try this bluff here. It's because I don't like the other two. Great creature of the Maw, are you not at least a bit curious as to why I've come to speak with you?
Did you now come to my den to entreat my attention?
She swivels her head to the side, studying you with a deadly intent.
I am listening. Bleat louder, little morsel.
Magrin would do anything to stop Eothas. If she erupts this volcano, you'll be destroyed along with it.
Should I believe the wretched words of a trespasser in my den?
I am going to guess that this is the Brenthis right here. We see the soul, and we see the dead body of the Rathun here. So they were seeking this dragon to ride it or to seek its help in defeating Eothas, but instead the dragon just killed them.
Even were it so, the fire feeds me. It can cause me no harm.
Believe me, dragon, I would not lie about such a grave matter.
Perhaps you speak the truth, and such may come to pass. Only fools die fighting the gods. I have lived for eons, and I will live for eons longer. I fly!
With a great heave, she slogs her body from the magma and takes to the sky. Okay. He's just leaving.
Indeed.
He's stealing, huh? Oh, we're stealing from the dragon. Look at that. Ooh. Aldris, Blade of the Captain Crow. It's a one-handed, unique saber. I should give that to Bjarter. It's exceptional. Wielder gains +8 health on a critical hit. +10 shock damage to target on a critical hit. Aldris the Green, a humble blacksmith's apprentice, fashioned this beautiful saber. The blade was polished steel, and the basket hilt made from a jackdaw with feathers silky and black as jet. He presented it as a wedding gift to his betrothed, Leela, a druid of storms. On their wedding day, Aldris presented his beloved with the weapon. After the vows, Leela imbued the blade with the power of storms, etching her husband's name along the fuller in glowing green runes. The celebration was short-lived. Under a blackened sky, the procession came under attack by the dreaded Captain Crow, commander of the Storm Raven and his band of cutthroats. Leela attempted to defend her beloved, but she and Aldris were cut down. The Buccaneers sacked the wedding and killed all who resisted. In the years that followed, Captain Crow used the blade of Aldris to cut a bloody swath across the Deadfire, killing and plundering, wielding the weapon's lightning with abandon. The saber's powers, unchecked by its cruel wielder, eventually scorched the feathers and flesh from the jackdaw and stained the blade with its victims' blackened blood. Wow. Story. And a lot of currency there. A unique cloak. +1 perception, +2 stealth, and +5% damage to weapon attacks made from stealth. +5 accuracy to weapon attacks made from stealth. Attacks made from stealth stun the target. Ayamut's life was one of sacrifice. As the matron huntress, it fell to her to feed her nomadic tribe. In order to provide, she lived apart, tirelessly stalking the herds. Her tribe followed, always one horizon behind, so as not to disturb the hunt. When the tribe saw the glow of a distant fire, they knew their huntress had made a kill, and moved forward. Arriving at the dying coals, they would find a fresh carcass, trussed and dressed. Ayamut had invariably moved on. Ayamut was known for her ability to soundlessly approach her quarry and strike with a deadly precision. The howling winds and bitter cold offered few second chances. This cloak helped conceal her, both in the open tundra and under dark forests, as its subtle pattern disguised her silhouette from even the most keen-eyed prey. Interesting. Okay. And let's talk this soul.
Of course.
The closer you near the dimly lit essence that smolders over the Rathun's burnt corpse, the stronger you feel the soul's flickering confusion and grief. Ashen, crooked fingers clutch a still flaming torque, grasping the relic tightly, even in death. We keep mentioning this torque. Something is it. I wonder if this body has this torque on it. Reach for the soul. Rather than falling face forward into a vision of the Rathun's final memory, her last thoughts scream through your mind in a jumble of disjointed words and disbelief.
I am burning! I am burning! I am burning! And it is not in pleasure, not for Mother Margaret. I should have listened when she said nothing. But I was willing to die to reach the Everflame, to sacrifice them and everything to ash, to vanquish the Defiler. And I am burning, but not in the flame. Not with honor and eternity, but for a moment. I am disgraced.
Okay. Few things here. The Defiler is Eothas. We've heard the Rathun talking about the Defiler a few times. That's Eothas. And it says to vanquish that she came here to vanquish the Defiler. But she wanted to reach the Everflame. We haven't heard that before. And she was hoping that whatever that Everflame is would help them destroy Eothas. I wonder if there is something that is actually the Everflame, or perhaps that's what they call the dragon. And then she's saying that she's burning, not in the flame, but not with honor and eternity, but for a moment on disgrace. In other words, the dragon lit her on fire and killed her rather than like being honored by the flame. I'm going to dig deeper into her final memory.
Who will lay the talk before the mother to fire the way? Who is left? Who will guard the sacred spire, the mother's mind? Who will descend the shrine to the Defiler's god's face? Not to these hands that are ashes sifting on a breath that is a last sigh of a wretchedly snuffed life. Not to me and mine. Now she who was blackened and befouled and forsaken by the flames, forsaken by Margaret.
So it just seems she's relenting what has happened to her here. She went to get help from the dragon and instead was killed by the dragon. Sorry to feel like I actually killed that. It's too late now. Pry the torque from the priestess's hand. Twisting the torque free cracks 3 of the priestess's blackened, brittle fingers. We got the torque of Thokton. This eternally burning torque was forged by Margaret and bestowed upon the Rathun as a symbol of their submission to the goddess's will. Thokton is a Rathun word, roughly translating to Everflame. So this is the Everflame here, this torque. So that torque they kept talking about was this torque, and when they were referring to the Everflame, they were referring to this torque. Okay, so answered a few questions. With the final flicker, the last swift and violent shuddering, the soul dims and disintegrates.
Rest easy now, priestess. I'll harvest your soul and your torment too.
Coaxing the soul with a low and soothing voice, Shodi jiggles her lantern over the priestess's charred corpse. There's not much left after the trauma the soul endured, but a few glimmering motes whirl around the soft light before the fading of the lantern. Wow, there is so much there. I wonder now. I mean, I was kind of hoping to come here and maybe we would have a way to approach the Rathun peacefully, but I don't know after what happened here if that's actually going to be the case. We'll have to see. So we're going to head to that Sentinel. Sentinel Wall? No, it's the Jagged Keep that we were at. This says Magma Lake here. This is the Lair of the Ancient. Okay. The dragon left, by the way, it seems to me anyway, because she was actually worried about what we were saying, that Eothas was going to try to draw power from this Audra and Malgren in her in her, I don't know, anger at him doing this, is going to try to destroy Eothas by erupting this mountain, which would mean everything in it would die, including the dragon. And the dragon wanted to live for eons longer. Okay. to the Jagged Keep. And I just love this music area. See if we have to lay waste to some Rathun, or if we can walk in and they talk to them. Like we'll be able to do that.
Be careful. Stand together!
Oh, there's a lot of them here.
No use.
What now?
It's immune to that, huh?
That's it!
Rebirth awaits me.
That's not very helpful. Stand together! Dead lava beyond
Didn't work. All things come to an end.
Fight on, Shoti! Damn laddie! Hey. Good times. Damn it! Nothing I can do.
Still got it.
How can I let him take me down?
I need some help here.
Stand together! Very well.
On your feet, Adair.
Lava beyond I'm no help here. Lava beyond that's for my friends. Lava beyond seek.
A little bit more difficult than I thought, probably because there were so many of them. Did it? Agate, ruby, and some private flames.
Indeed.
Ashen key. A symbol of Magran adorns the head of this giant black metal key. Currency and private flames. Currency. Fireless in death, this warrior's body is being ceremoniously prepared for cremation. Great sword and bulls.
Absolutely.
Alien plate armor. I wonder what that's doing here. So, it was was the Rathun Armory that we got into that big fight. This is the Rathun Hall of Warriors, but I don't think we were able to cross this over here, so maybe we can get there a different way. And where we are now is the Rathun Forge. That one we can unlock. Same with this one. Do this first.
Got someone?
Yeah!
Sights.
Lavaru, be on sick!
Nuh-uh, didn't work. Glory beta...
Do I still need to empower Maya's attacks? Yes, I do.
This thing isn't doing the job.
Captain?
Word of that Lavaru, beyond sick.
Hit me again and I'll hit you back.
Of course.
Give me the order.
Trap up here. I haven't noticed yet.
Look there.
There it is.
Happily. Well, if you insist. There you go.
I have to do something different there, but we got some fire throwers gloves, which gives us +2 dexterity and +2 explosives, +1 arcana, +1 all evocation power levels. These leather gloves are cracked and discolored from contact with alchemical compounds and burning gunpowder. Fingertips blackened from fuse and flame still... Excuse me. The fingertips, blackened from fuse and flame, still provide surprising dexterity and grip. The artificer, Elme Björst, crafted them during her time with the Dear Wooden Grenadier Company during the Saints' War, where she oversaw the construction and implementation of the unit's explosives. Due to the rapidity of the Raid Saren incursion into the Palatinate, the Dear Woodens were frequently short on supplies, even in their home territory. Elme had to make do with what little powder and other components she had. As the war escalated, the artisan found her presence necessary on the front lines, both to resupply her troops and offer instruction. Her valiant leadership and the courage of her troops earned her company the moniker Elme's Fire Throwers. Whether these gloves belong to Elme herself or one of her soldiers is unknown. Again, what is that doing here? I mean, I guess, like, the Valiant plate armor that we saw, that was just kind of like a random thing thrown in there, but this is a unique item. If there's a good reason why here or not. Can't think of any right now.
You see that?
Arbalist and some lockpicks.
Of course.
Flail and flame. Wait, where am I going? Why can't I just open it from here? Really weird. So I guess I gotta come back around and go this way just to open that door.
Happily.
Rock slide has collapsed this section of the keep. Let's go unlock that door, see if there's any reason to do that. I don't know if there is, but... for some reason that door could only be opened from that side, but I don't get why that would be the case. It seems like blatant design. By the game developers, not by the Rathun. Well, maybe not. The blades of these weapons have warped after prolonged exposure to the lava's heat.
Indeed.
Got a fine warhammer, a fine medium shield, knapped scoria figurine. Summons 2 magmos. Okay.
I guess I make as good a target as any.
What can I do?
I'm listening.
Oh? Yes?
Something I can do. Good thinking.
Rest, actually, I think I am. Weird place to rest, but I can't think too much about that.
Supposing this volcano blows, what are the odds any of us but Gone survives it?
We should move quickly.
Right. Let's see if we can do whatever this is peacefully. A Rathun warrior stands tall, even among his giant brethren. With a stern sweep of his hand, he addresses the soldier at his side.
The Brentfist tarries for too long, yet only she is fit to fire the shrine. Go and ensure that she returns readily with the Ancient.
We already know that she was not able to do that. The Ancient was the dragon, and it killed her.
It would be my honor, Bathor.
Thor is the equivalent of a warlord. His title is bestowed upon the most skilled warrior among the Rathun, a position earned through battle.
Return in victory, Rekir.
Yes, Bathor.
The Rekir, which is the word that is for an unblooded warrior, that doesn't seem like an insult.
And remember,
The giant sweeps his gaze in your direction. When the warlord spots you, his shoulders stiffen. He reaches for the mace strapped to his back.
you are a bold one to attack us in our own seat of power. I hope you are prepared to die here, for I will soon prostrate you on the altar of Margaret and burn you for her glory.
Quarrel with you, Bathor. I'm only here to speak to Eothas.
Eothas deserves death, not words. The Defiler God has brought war to Ashen Maw in revenge against Margaret and her Rathun.
The warlord regards you hotly, fire sweat dripping down his neck. The surrounding warriors clang their weapons against their chests to the floor, clamoring for blood. So, in the Saints' War, in which Eothas inhabited, at least a portion of Eothas inhabited the body of a man, Widewind, later known as Saint Widewind, when he was destroyed by the Godhammer bomb at Halget Citadel, now known as Godhammer Citadel. It was priests of Mogren's that designed the bomb to not just destroy the physical body of Eothas, but also destroy the soul. So it seems these Rathun here think Eothas is here as a way to get revenge on Mogren, but I don't think that's the case. I think Eothas has been doing this to a lot of different places. He is taking some of the soul energy from these Adra pillars as a way to keep moving forward, and he needs a lot of it in order to power his colossal body that he has now. So I think putting this revenge idea into him is more of a Aora dweller excuse for what he's doing, not what Eothas is actually doing. Okay, hang on.
What is your relation to Eothas, if not to act with him against Margaret?
Eothas stole a part of my soul. I need it back.
Then you two have cause against Eothas, as we do.
I was hoping he would see that as like a kinship in that we actually have something against Eothas. That's what I was hoping in replying that. It seems to have worked.
We are prepared to assault Eothas at the base of the Maw.
Warlord gestures to the shrine of Magrin behind him.
The shrine will lower us to the sacred Ardra pillar, where the embodied god now gluts himself.
Let me through. I'll speak with Eothas and convince him to leave this place.
Even if I believed you, I cannot do such a thing.
Shakes his head. His eyes burn, fiercely intent.
We guard the sacred depths of the Maw. None may freely enter. Thus the shrine lies dormant, locked without the talk of befacting.
He shoves his shoulders back with pride. That is the torque that we picked up from Id. I can't remember the Rathun word for the priestess.
Our high priestess. The Brenthis is the torque's rightful bearer, but she has yet to return to the keep.
Brenthis. Found your Brenthis. He's dead.
Then it is as I feared, and as I felt. Her flames have been extinguished. I do not share the Brenthis' ability to commune with Margaret, but I must believe the goddess would will us to fight. We must make a final stand.
Have the torque.
To returning victory from the lair of the Ancient. I misjudged you. You are one of a kind among kith. What became of the Ancient? Jorda Fairless. Triumph will be nigh impossible without her.
What makes you think something happened to her?
Face beet red, Shodi chokes, pounding on her chest as she struggles for air.
Oh, where to begin? Captain?
Maya elbows you. The warlord tilts his head as if considering the true meaning of your companion's reaction. Growing distrustful, he tightens his grip on his mace.
You will answer me, Kith, without trickery or lies.
Glowers, impatient. The dragon has forsaken you. He falls silent, the scrawlings on his skin flaring hotly.
Indeed. I feared the worst when the Brenthis failed to return with the beast. We've no choice. Despite the odds, we'll attack without either's strength.
Shakes his head, the motion grave.
If this is to be our last stand, we must prepare ourselves, either for victory or for sacrifice. Lest Margaret forsake us for our failures. You have earned the right to Fire Shrine with the talk of the Ever Flame, but we cannot join you as yet in facing the Defiler.
Well. Alright, so at least we don't have to fight them.
Real cold to me for a fire god. Like she'd rather see you die struggling than offer help.
Stand before the shrine of Malgrin, goddess of flame and war. Lifting your eyes, fiery motes begin to streak across your vision as you stare into the opposing cast of her likeness. Oh, so that's a statue of Malgrin. We'll have to examine that. With a span of a single breath, everything falls eerily silent. The Rathun behind you fade away. Flames to either side of you flicker higher, dancing without sound. But the heat is real, licking at your skin. Then metal groans as Malgrin's statue bends her head to you in greeting.
Watcher, the time does not allow for niceties.
Words flow like lava from her lips, like the trails that burble hotly from her eyes. So this here is a statue of Malgrin. We see the horns, like the portrait. She has a Magrinite shield here and a flamberge, I think that's what type of sword is.
Even now, Eothas gains strength from the spire. What progress have you to report?
Rathun are preparing a final assault against Eothas.
Then they will burn to ash and return to the mud kiln from whence they came.
I think that word solidifies that idea. That's not the right word. I'm having so much trouble here. Solidifies the idea that Magrin is the one that created the Rathun, meaning that they are mage folk. They were created by Magrin, so if it says return to the mud kiln from whence they came, it seems to echo that idea. She leans forward, the copper of her corded arms gleaming from the blustering flames. She tugs her sword free from her plinth, and the entire shrine shudders with heat.
Presently I shall erupt this volcano, and with it, consume Eothas. I suggest you retreat if you at all value your mortal form.
So, that conversation we had with the dragon, I think the game assumed that we had already had this conversation with Magrin, because we were talking about how Magrin was going to erupt the volcano. But I don't think we had any way of knowing that. Maybe I'm forgetting something. That seems like another oversight here. You not care about the Rathun at all?
I formed the Rathun to serve, to ward against Kith in order to safeguard Ukaizo. Now they have served me.
Okay, so Magrin's teeth are there and inhabited by the Rathun. It was like an extra measure of defense against getting to Ukaizo. Now we have the Andra's mortar, the storm that surrounds it, but this seems like it was something.
The sacrifice is not without honor, as yours too will be. Fare thee on, Watcher. My condolences, should you die.
She inclines her head once more in a stalwart farewell. An avatar of the goddess flashes over the imposing statue before you. As the image fades, absence leaves the shrine cold and deathly silent. Interact with the shrine. The statue of Magrin towers above you, bloodied and battle-ready. The goddess clutches both sword and shield. At the base of the statue, a rectangular iron-slatted altar rests between two unlit braziers. Examine the altar. The slatted top of the altar has been hammered, silver water smooth, except for the single circular groove notched deep into the center of the slab. Charred bits of metal, leather, and bones are piled in the interior of the circular groove, the remains of prior offerings to the goddess. Place the torque on the altar. The braziers on either side of the altar flare to life, red-hot flames shooting high before settling into the steadier, softer burn with the bowls. Lava eddies beneath iron grating in the floor, heating the soles of your feet, while the statue herself seems to wake, metal groaning, rasping as the shrine moves. Lost an item, the torque of the Thaktin. Okay, let's descend into the depths of the Ashen Maw. With a squeal of metal against metal, the entire floor drops, a stomach lurching 5 feet. Chains clang like the toll of a bell as they catch, pounding against the time-worn gears. Then the shrine begins steadily lowering into the maw. As the shrine cranks lower into the maw, Eothas' colossal Adra-carved dome, neck, and shoulders slowly emerge into view. This close, the god rises up like a mountain, larger than you ever remember having seen him. Energy vibrates from his massive body, and a cacophony of mutterings and shouts from the souls whirling within it slams into you, nearly knocking you from your feet. Okay. Oh. Okay, this is right next to us here. Says, speak to Eothas.
You're certain he wanted us all to come?
Have you ever seen anything so awe-inspiring? Behold the power of my god!
Sorry if that. Take a screenshot of this. Sorry if I cut that out, but he said, "Watch it. I wasn't sure you'd make it. There is enough of you in me to grasp that you had a better chance than most."
Some would say it's because you have a strong soul. Great deeds come easily to one so spiritually blessed. Or have you become great because of what has been thrust upon you? Watcher of Cadnua, Herald of Berith, Hound of Eothas.
Oh my God. You're really, this can't.
I see you, Shoti. I am glad that we could meet, even if it is under quite unpleasant circumstances.
This is really happening, right? Gon, your humble priestess is before you. Please, tell me what you require of me. How do I save more lost souls than I can carry in one lifetime?
Face
bright red, sweat beading her brow. Shoti stumbles precariously closer to the edge. Lantern rattling, she catches herself. A mere moment before she would have toppled over.
Actually had a narrator there.
I know that you have undertaken a noble mission, but I will tell you what I told the Watcher. You need not fear for the lost souls of this world. As for you, Watcher, why is it you believe you have made it this far?
To choose between each of us simply does the best we can. My trials have made me who I am, or good fortune and good people carried me the whole way. I'd be nothing without them. I think I'm going to do that one. Good fortune and good people have carried me the whole way. I'd be nothing without them.
As would we all. But you have come a great distance for answers. What would you ask of me, Watcher?
You atone for all the damage you've done.
No. Not now. Not in your lifetime. Perhaps in 100 generations, the books and tongues of Kith will forget the name Eothas. A penance paid in full, noted by none. That would be my absolution.
Be forgotten, he is saying, would be completely forgotten by Kith would be properly.
You're just gonna wait for us to forget what you did? That's your penance?
Adair stands in a broad posture, the one he so often takes when placing himself between friend and foe. His neck is sharply craned to meet the unblinking stare of his god.
How about you start by giving back the souls you took? Or maybe by apologizing to every one of your followers, especially the ones that died for you.
The molten rock of Magrin's teeth gleams bright orange in his eyes, and he looks like a man overtaken by a furious spirit.
You owe this Watcher here. You owe my brother Woden, and every last one of us that ever followed you. And you owe me. I never asked you for much, but you owe me better than what you're given.
I cannot atone for my mistakes with words alone, Adair. I know this now. It is why I began this journey and why I must move on. But you have come here for other answers. Why I have returned, where I am going. Am I answering to you, or to Berith?
For all you've done, I think every creature that lives and breathes on Eora needs to know.
And it would seem even she whose presence shakes the heart of this mountain needs to know.
Magrin is prepared to take drastic measures to stop you.
Magrin fears what I will do, just as she feared what I would do in the Deerwood. But this time, there is no power on Eora or in all of hell to stop me. Understand that what I'm saying is neither a boast nor a challenge. It is the clearest statement of truth I can give you, give Berith, in the hopes of dissuading you from taking actions that may harm others.
So he is trying to dissuade us from taking actions that may harm others, while he's stomping through the Deadfire and taking souls from people. So I can either just ask him what he's going to do, or I can actually address that and say, It says the one who's killed thousands walking from Deerwood to Deadfire. I think that's what I'm going to say. Yeah. It says the one who's killed thousands walking from the Deerwood to Deadfire.
Yes. I am sacrificing lives from this generation for the benefit of those who have not yet been born.
So this is very godlike of Eothas. We, Kith, are concerned with more here and now part of our lives, and we consider death to be a tragedy. And it is. I'm not saying that it's not, but the way a god sees that has lived for so long, they can see other generations in ways that we don't, and he seems to think this is like a necessary sacrifice to make future generations better somehow. And he even admits that it might be like a lot of generations earlier on, like thousands of years, but he is willing to make that sacrifice. However, that sacrifice is not so much him sacrificing himself as it is sacrificing the lives of countless people that are alive right now.
The other gods may be willing to make similar sacrifices, but they will be in vain. I am going to force gods and mortals alike to open their eyes to one another, and all the powers of hell cannot drive me from this course.
That means to open their eyes to one another. Force gods and mortals alike to open their eyes to one another.
It seems my sister does not like the sound of that.
Be more specific. What are you trying to do?
I want to return the gods to our original purpose, and to allow mortals to worship us, or ignore us, for what we are, not what we pretend to be.
In other words, Kith see gods as somehow greater than they actually are, but he wants mortals to see them for who they really are. That is something that we had to struggle with in the first game when we realized that the gods were actually created and not always there. And Eothas seems to want people to understand that. Seems to want the Kith of the world of Eora to understand that they are not actually like creator gods. They are just created gods. They have a lot of power, but not they're not actually gods as Kith see them.
Shodi gasps sharply, for once too stunned to blurt out a response. Her eyes are wild, with too much white showing, when she glances from Eothas to you.
Whatever you're doing, there's gotta be a better way.
When I entered Widewin, I did so with the intention of illuminating the history of Anguith. I wanted to show all the nations of the Eastern Reach the machines we had used to create ourselves, how we had hidden our true nature from mortals for millennia. But even if I had succeeded, my words would have been easy to deny. Belief creates the foundation upon which a mind's reality is built. Some minds can never let go of that foundation. They would rather hold tight to the world in their mind than accept what they're being told.
Say, if that's so, what are you doing this time that will make any difference?
I have not come to speak, to convince, to plead, but to break the foundations of belief itself, to extinguish the lights that maintain the illusions we have created. We took on the mantles of gods from legends, and in so doing, made real what was false, crafted truth from fiction.
The gods were created to fit the stories that Kith told themselves about.
The time has come for a new covenant between gods and mortals. One forged in the light of truth and understanding between our kind. I will leave this place and go to the lost city the Huana call Ukaizo. It is there that all souls pass through the machines of the gods, where all souls pass into the beyond, before beginning their next life. When I reach that place, I will find our great machines and tear them to pieces. I will smash the great wheel until the lights of hell all gutter and die.
Great wheel, which is the wheel that people refer to, not symbolically, though, the wheel of souls that inhabit a body. Then when that body dies, the souls return to the wheel and are then distributed to new bodies. And he's suggesting here that it is a machine that can be smashed. It's a very real thing, and it is an Ukaizo.
And when my work is done, I will leave this world forever.
More destruction. You're tearing the whole world apart because you can't make peace among yourselves.
Adair, there will never be peace among mortals, so long as they are unwittingly manipulated by the gods.
That's true.
The divine enslavement that Woodaka reveres perpetuates ignorance, chaos, and violence across the world. I only wish to destroy the darkness that surrounds the gods, that you may better see us for what we are.
I don't know why I would exclaim what. I'm just gonna say nothing to that.
I admit that's not the response I expected, especially given the volcano erupting around us. Still, I'm surprised Magrin is reacting this way. I would have thought she would appreciate a trial of this magnitude, one that tests us all. Both gods and mortals alike rely on the wheel. We depend on it for the souls that give us power. Mortals depend on it for the lives of future generations. Breaking it will force all of us to face the truth.
Okay, so the wheels are not just for Kit then, they are also for the gods. So they extract some of that soul to give themselves power. So that is interesting. Still not going to say that killing a whole bunch of people is a great way to achieve this end that he's talking about. But he does seem sincere in his desire to make the gods, or at least make people see the gods as mortals, as see them for who they are. He does seem sincere in that. And he even said that he wants to disappear from Eora forever after this is done. So that he's not making a power play here. He's definitely trying to force a different relationship between Kith and the gods.
We will fail together or move forward together. Either ending is preferable to the cycle we still find ourselves in.
I can be sympathetic to that. This idea that we are just constantly in this circle of things, and they are not awful, but also there is a lot of strife in the world. There's a lot going on that is negative in the world, and he wants to see an end to that. And whether they fail or move forward together, it's going to be an end to that. And that's what he wants. He wants to stop the cycle and move on to something else. It doesn't seem like he cares what that something else is, though, as long as it's based in truth.
Gone, wait! Before it's too late, you gotta take the souls I harvested for you.
The priestess thrusts her light-pulsing lantern outward, as if waiting for Eothas to take it from her.
If you're forgetting that the narrator is going to read those parts, I apologize for that.
They are not for me to take. Shodi, you are their guardian now. You are their protector. You have taken responsibility for them, and only you can decide their fate. Once again, the gods have put you in a precarious position, Watcher. Considering all the troubles I have put you through, the least I can do is protect you from the wrath Magrin has intended for me.
Doesn't make us even, you know.
Perhaps I will have another opportunity to make amends. Until then, this will have to do. Brace yourself, Watcher.
Guys and gals, we are literally being touched by the hand of God right now.
Despite herself, Shodi squeals. Trembling, she sways on her feet as if she might faint.
Hey, Eothas, we're not done here. You and I, we're not finished. Don't think you can just move me aside like all the rest. Maybe you can't be stopped. But on behalf of everyone you've trampled, betrayed, and ignored, I'll be coming to see you again.
Adair spits. In the surging heat, it never reaches the ground.
So, all this extra conversation between Shodi and Adair makes me wonder if maybe, because Maya and Aloth haven't said anything, and I wonder if, I brought Tekehu, if he would have had something else to say here. Maybe even Reke.
Perhaps we will meet again, Adair. Until then, take care of the Watcher.
Eothas's great hand floats away from the luminous Audra pillar. As it pulls back, for a brief moment you see a golden tether flash into existence between the pillar and the great Titan's back. When the Audra fingers gently cradle you, there is first a sensation of warmth, but it is followed by a harsh splitting of consciousness. Your awareness vacillates erratically between the physical world and the spiritual dimension of Eothas's body. Your soul glides amid the many trapped with Eothas. As your brilliant form passes by them, they call and reach out for help. Below Eothas's body, the volcano erupts. Molten rock rushes over the great Audra body, but does not slow its movement. Rathun rush to higher ground, but cannot outpace the lava, which overwhelms and consumes them as it rises. Your attention returns to the heart of Eothas's body. Deep within the whirling masses of souls, you again sense your own presence, the fragment that was taken from you. This time, you reach out to it as it reaches out to you. You meet somewhere in the great mass of Audra, the rest of the souls fading at the edge of your awareness.
So I just wanted to quickly say, in the last slide, it said something about how the Rathun were looking for higher ground and they were destroyed, and we also heard Malgren say that they had already served their purpose. So mage folk are not the same thing as Kith, but they are definitely living beings. And it seems like we've been witnessing Eothas's destruction throughout this whole game, but it seems like the gods all don't necessarily care so much about that destruction. Malgren is willing to destroy her followers to try and get back at Eothas, and Eothas is willing to destroy Kith lives in order to achieve his purposes as well. So they all see Kith lives more as like a means to an end than they do see them as actual people. And I'm kind of struggling here between the obvious villainy of killing these people, but also the desire to try and make things a little bit better. And that is what Eothas's story is in this game. And it is very poignant not just for the Deadfire or Eora, but I think here as well, this kind of struggle between what kind of pain and sacrifice is necessary to achieve an end that becomes more desirable. And I don't think that's an easy question to answer. I just wanted to posit that idea.
We are together again. Are you ready to be together again?
Yes, it's about time.
Are you certain? Since we've parted, you've become someone else, and I have become myself.
Okay. So this part of our soul that's been in Eothas for this long actually has a consciousness now aside from my own.
When we join, we won't be ourselves anymore. Your senses yank back to your body, still in Eothas's hand. There is light, sunlight. He has emerged from Ashen Maw, the rim of the volcano and the great keep of the Rathun collapsing behind him. The Adra is barely visible through the thick lava covering his body. And still, he moves. The ocean is gone, water sucked away, leaving only the bare seabed glistening in an ominous silence. You summon the strength to turn your head. Through the cracks in the great god's fingers, you see a wall of water, taller than Neketaka, taller than Eothas, as tall as the moon. It comes with the rumbling of a terrible stampede.
I wonder if this is Andra putting out the volcano?
The wave slams into Eothas. His hand closes, protecting you from the devastation. Somewhere in your mind, you hear Andra screaming.
So not putting out the volcano, trying to stop Eothas with waves. Magrin tried to do it with fire, Andra's trying to do it with water.
You are back inside him. Back with yourself. Are you still the same Watcher who returned the lost souls of the Deerwood to the wheel? The soul observes you, waiting. I am.
And I'll do everything I can to save these poor souls before I am done.
Good. Then this should be easy.
Guessing that me and this part of my soul are not that far apart from each other.
You feel cool air, seawater. The back of your mind pulls your attention back to your body. Eothas stands amid the now calm waves. Kraken futilely clinging to his limbs as he gingerly sets down your ship with one hand. He carefully opens his other, setting your body on the deck. As your head comes to rest, your vision rocks forward, pulled back into the Adra, back to your soul. Some of us is lost to him. Fragments and the empty spaces between them. They will always be a part of him. But we are still us. And it's time for us to go. Together.
Why I would want my soul to stay here. I'm just gonna say together.
The soul rushes toward you, flying into you with ferocious speed. You are thrust back through the Adra, out of the palm of Eothas' hand, back into your body. You can feel the sensation of your skin, the warmth of the Adra, but you are not fully in control. The other soul struggles to reach the surface of the body's consciousness, but you pull it down. Entangled, you float in a dark, boundless expanse. The more you fight each other, the closer you become, until somehow, impossibly, every piece of you is touching every piece of them. Through the distant window of your eyes, you see Eothas push slowly against your ship. Though his touch is light, it is still the touch of a god. The ship lurches, rapidly tearing across the water southward. His hand pulls away from your ship's wake, his body straightening, towering overhead. The volcanic rock, now cooled and gently steaming, sloughs from his body as he moves. The Adra beneath is still immaculate, unmarred. He watches you depart, and you hear a voice in your mind as you sink deeper into the blackness of sleep.
Tell them what you have witnessed, Watcher. Tell them what is coming.
The windows of your eyes retreat into the distance. The fragment of your soul is so close to you in the darkness that you can't tell if its thoughts are separate from your own. Eothas is going to Ukaizo?
Eothas is going to Ukaizo.
He's going to stop the wheel?
He's going to stop the wheel.
Eothas is going to Ukaizo. Eothas is going to Ukaizo. He's going to stop the wheel. The words repeat in your mind until they become an incessant, meaningless mantra. Involuntary meditation in the emptiness of your unconscious. When the words finally dissolve and become part of the darkness, you see a pinpoint of light. You no longer sense the other soul. No longer sense the person you were before Eothas touched you. You swim toward the light. As you come closer, the light becomes two blurry spots of radiance. You settle in behind your eyes and feel your lips already moving, mumbling. Around your body you sense familiar scents and sounds, voices raised in shock and alarm. You take control of your mouth, opening it wide and drawing a great breath.
Okay, so really quickly before we get into this new scene here, looks like we're at Palace. Is this a scene from early in the game? The first time we went to Kahanga Palace? I don't know, I'll have to see. But I just wanted to say about this confrontation that we had with Eothas here. So he wants the people to know that he's going to Ukaizo, that he's going to stop the wheel. And also, we are somehow, because we have joined with our soul, not the same person as we were when we first entered the Ashen Maw. So that's all interesting there. And I also wanted to say that there's just so much to unpack about Eothas here, and what I think this game does such a good job of is just making you feel the awe that Kith would feel when they see a god like this, and in that case the gods battling as well. We are very insignificant to them. Eothas is able to take us up. He didn't have to do that. He could easily have killed us, but then Mogren erupts a volcano. Andra sends Kraken and a tidal wave after him. None of that was enough to stop him, and we are pretty insignificant compared to all that. So they do a really good job of creating that awe that Kith feel in Eora, and probably we would feel here on Earth if these kinds of things were happening. Also, while I was saying this, to move on here, this scene can't be the scene from early in the game because Maya's with us here. I don't know if it's just because she happens to be in our party this time, but I'm not sure exactly what this is. So before I make any more guesses, then let's actually see what it is. A pounding headache drags you most of the way back to your senses. Your vision blurs, and an acrid taste fills your parched mouth. The details of the room slowly come into focus, the sounds of an ongoing debate a distant echo.
Are we simply going to wait? What if he never wakes up?
Are those frilled collars stuffed in your ears? If the Watcher's mumblings are right, then Eothas is marching on Ukaizo. We have to move.
Okay, so this is new. In the brief silence, you hear Hazanui Karu's boots scrape against tile as she paces.
He's seizing power from the very gods who betrayed him, destroying the wheel to make sure they never come back.
She shakes her head and chuckles with grim appreciation.
It's a coup, and we have to muster the strength to stop it.
The unraveling of Kohopa from Tangaloa is our greatest test from the gods, I say. We must live to deserve the world they make for us.
So Hazanui Karu wants to stop Eothas, but Queen Onakaza seems to be accepting what's happening here, and saying that we have to be ready for this new world. Onakaza rests her chin on her fist and considers. The assembled leaders turn their attention away from each other in a prolonged and thoughtful silence. At last you feel fully present and steady on your feet. The attention of the room abruptly shifts to you, filling the void with expectant whispers. Why is everyone here?
You're awake. Welcome back, Watcher. Your arrival in the wake of the eruption at Mogren's Teeth was alarming. You shared a great deal while you were asleep. We aren't sure what to make of it.
Welcome back, Captain. If you're wondering about the taste, Ishi was trying to feed you bugs while you were asleep.
Aw, thanks, Ishi.
join our talks, I say. Rational discussion will gust away the ominous smoke rising from Ashen Maw.
Unakaza gestures to you with an open palm.
The Deadfire is no stranger to cataclysm. We can survive by cleaving to a shared purpose, a greater good, Akira.
She looks to each of the envoys in turn.
For what else did the gods place us here? We who have ships and resources enough to make a difference.
So she seems ready to expect this. She says that Deadfire is no stranger to cataclysm. I think that could mean two things. One, actual cataclysms, but also just this idea that I was talking about. I think it was earlier this session, maybe it was the previous session, about how the Huana get up and move their homes when resources are close to depleted in order to allow that area to regenerate. And then they eventually will come back to that after, who knows, dozens of years away. So just this idea of constantly having to adjust to something new could also be a form of cataclysm. Castel glances around the room at the gathered parties, his brows climbing.
What we need is brass. Rawatai has ships and cannons aplenty, but the only way I'm sending them is if...
She breaks off at the boom of a door slamming open. Commotion echoes from the entrance hall. As everyone turns toward the noise, her hand strays to her gun. The sound of approaching footsteps in volume as a courier scrambles into the throne room, panting and glistening with sweat. His mouth opens and closes like a fish, gasping desperately for breath.
Ships have formed the blockade around Queen's Berth. Their commander demands parley with Serpent's Crown.
What? But what about our ships? I must get a message through to the captains.
For what do our enemies paint a target on their hull? This is a stirring bid for my attention.
Onakaza narrows her gaze past the open door.
Send word to my water shapers to drain the sea around the flagship. I would parley on better terms than this.
Onakaza begins to rise, but the courier speaks up ahead of her.
My queen! They fly the colors of pirates! The Principi are...
Principi are blockading Neketaka?
Well, what have we here?
A confident voice booms from the open door. It says, Captain Aldis. The motley sailors who don't hold the Huana guards at bay. The motley sailors who don't hold the Huana guards at bay with drawn weapons take in some of the more opulent decorations with avid interest. One pirate separates out from the fold, sauntering boldly forward.
Forgive me, lovesome, but it looks like you're having a party. A rather fine one to which you didn't invite me.
She winks, swollen neck glinting in the light as she cocks her pistol high above her head.
You painted vagrants are a plague on my tribes. Why should I not hang you from the walls of my garden?
Onakaza grips the handrests of her throne as if ready to vault up and attack.
You should be asking yourself how they got in here in the first place.
She glowers in the direction of the throne.
Oh, I do love when they squabble. But I'm here for neither pleasantries nor entertainment. We've bigger fish to fry. Or should I say gods?
A determined-looking guard inches closer to Aldis from the edge of the court. Without looking, the Principi captain swivels her pistol to aim straight at his chest.
Now everyone just calm down. I promise we won't fire on you at this time. Unless firstly provoked. That is, until once we've safely absconded from the city back to the high seas.
She grins magnanimously.
Then all bets are off again, aye?
Yes, well, if you have a point, pirate, I suggest you reach it quickly.
We're supposed to take a bunch of pirates at their word?
She crosses her arms, the wooden hand groaning.
Right you are. However...
The narrow-eyed look she settles on the room is more than a little bloodthirsty.
I'm here because I've got questions, ones that can't wait. And the lovesome Watcher's the only one likely to answer them nicely.
I'm going between the first two here. If we want to reach Ukaizo, we need every ship at our disposal, or all of us must plan for the inevitable. Even if we cooperate, Eothas wins. I'm going to say that. All of us must plan for the inevitable. Even if we cooperate, Eothas wins.
Do you think so little of our chances? The Huana are built to outlast, I say.
So it seems like she is interpreting Eothas winning as destroying everything, where I am interpreting Eothas winning as destroying the wheel and forcing a new world order on Eora.
Deadfire's last cataclysm stripped the tribes of Ukaizo. This one will bring it back to us. All of this is meant to be.
Onikaza balls her hands into a fist and nods, flaring her nostrils. So she wants Ukaizo to be part of the Huana culture again.
Ukaizo? What's the lost city of gold got to do with a god on a rampage?
Using the barrel of her gun, she tips her hat back curiously. So she wasn't there when we were talking about how Eothas is making his way to Ukaizo so that he can destroy the wheel. Eothas is going to shatter life and death while the rest of you bicker over land rights. I like that.
Well, fuck if that doesn't put things into perspective. But what's that even mean in the long run? Folks who die won't be coming back again.
Maybe at first, but eventually, Eora will be starved of life. I'm sorry, maybe not at first, but eventually Eora will be starved of life.
This is all dark and foreboding sounding. But what's it mean for my soul? I mean, I like the idea of pirating throughout the Great Beyond as much as the next gal. But if, say, I got no awareness after I die, does it even matter what happens?
Ak, of course you have no interest past that of your eyes and your stomach. Let us speak now of what can be done. Must be done. Watcher, you know best of all of us what our options are.
So I just want to say that after Eothas gave us that talk and told us about how he wants to force Kith to have a truthful relationship with the gods, and wanting to get out of not just the wheel of souls, but the wheel that Kith kind has been trapped in for centuries. They immediately move to this world-ending worry here, and these people are still bickering. And I think that's very deliberate to kind of get us onto at least see what Eothas means to do and maybe sympathize with him, because this is obviously ridiculous here. However, these are the leaders, and it's difficult to see sometimes when we talk about leaders, when we see this bickering here, that they don't represent all the people. Maybe there are a bunch of people that follow them, but they are doing so, but a lot of them are probably doing so just because they need to get paid. They need to survive, and so they do what they need to do, just like so many of us here. And I feel like that vast majority of people are the ones that are consistently forgotten on Earth and on Eora. We tend to look at the leaders and say they represent everybody underneath them when that just isn't the fact. So I want to make sure that while we criticize these people for bickering, that is not representative of people of Eora as a whole. More answers could be apparent when we land on Ukaizo.
The Huana made compacts with the gods on lost Ukaizo. Anything can happen on the shores of our ancestors.
Onikaza nods.
I say it is a place where mortals can reach beyond themselves, do freely what animancers struggle to dream.
We have to act quickly. Defending Ukaizo is the highest priority.
A pensive, focused look sharpens the lines of her face. She scratches her cheek with the fingers of her wooden hand.
Our ships are fast and well-equipped. We could sail to the edge of Andra's mortar. See if Eothas' passage opens a way through the storms.
She narrows her eyes, watching the others.
Of course, finding Ukaizo once we're through is another matter.
So all of these are ways of saying that you need me to find him. Soul can sense Eothas. Why would I say my soul calls out from inside him? I wonder why that's an option. We took the soul back. Although it did say there was a portion of us that would always be with Eothas, so okay, that makes sense. I can sense Eothas in Andra's mortar. My soul calls out from inside him.
That's so. You just might be able to save us.
She scratches her chin, an eager glimmer in her eyes. So all of these people just want control over Ukaizo. That's what they're thinking about now.
We speak of collectively sailing for Andra's mortar, but this crown will not support any plan that involves a single outsider ship landing on the shores of Ukaizo.
A hush falls over the room as Onakaza makes her proclamation.
It is for this moment that the gods test me. Anyone who seeks to cross Andra's mortar will learn that the gates of Ukaizo are the end of compromise with the Huana.
We're not here to debate over territory. Our souls are in jeopardy.
I think I'm getting the gist of it now.
She rubs the barrel of her gun under her jaw thoughtfully. Then she crooks you a cunning grin.
While these witless princocks go at each other's throats, we Principi will cut through the storms and plunder the city of gold. Whatever Eothas is seeking in those ruins, we'll find it, and then we'll sell it to the highest bidder. That, or me and mine will have front row seats to the end of the world.
If the Huana cannot take back our beginning, then our end fast approaches. The gods will judge us by our devotion to Ukaizo.
Are you going to guard it as closely as you've guarded your palace today?
She shoots a meaningful stare at the pirates.
Ukaizo was yours once, and you lost it. Meanwhile, the storms that cover Andra's mortar plague Rauatai too. We will help the Watchers stop Eothas, but we will not leave our country's future in soft hands. We hope the Watcher agrees.
She nods to you.
Watcher, there are two kinds of people in the Deadfire. Those who have called it home since time immemorial, and opportunists.
Onakaza glares at the assembled dignitary. She's partly right there. But she is both of those kinds of people. The Huana have called it home since time immemorial, but she is also very much an opportunist, taking advantage of the Rauataians and the Valian Trading Company to make herself rich as well.
With Ukaizo under our control, the Huana would restore order as it has not been seen since the days of our ancestors.
She nods slowly, holding your gaze all the while. So let's recap the desires here. I'm sure we're going to hear from the Valian Trading Company next. The Huana and Queen Onakaza want control of Ukaizo because it was once part of Huana culture. It had been stripped from them, and she believes that the gods are testing her, and they need, in order to return to what the Huana once stood for, they need control of Ukaizo. Hazanui Karu wants control of Ukaizo as well, mostly as a base, but also because Andra's mortar is part of the storms that are plaguing Rauatai, and she wants to control it to maybe also control the storms. And she wants to defend it as well. The pirates want to plunder it, and if that doesn't work, then they just want to have a front row seat to the destruction of it. Let's hear what the Valian Trading Company.
Order. And the only question is whether it will be the order of ignorance and tradition, or else of conquest. The secrets to be found in Ukaizo could elevate us all beyond the telling. I will not relinquish that dream so easily.
With that, Castel turns to stride away, his shoulders set in a rigid line. So he is more concerned with the secrets that you can find in Ukaizo. And I think secrets are a word for doing something that could make him even richer, finding some kind of resource or something else that could benefit the Valiant Trading Company. So they're kind of similar to the pirates, to the Principe. Without so much as a final farewell, Aldis tips her head to her armed crew, and the pirates withdraw as swiftly as they arrived.
Watcher, I say the time to play at freelancing is at an end. Any of us could get you to Ukaizo, but only one of us will stand by your side.
Studying you carefully, Onekaza nods and gestures for her attendants to clear the room.
Let's speak, Watcher, while we have the chance.
Forge alliances or prepare your ship for a hard voyage. Okay, so it's time to make our final decision. But it's a really good time to stop. That was an incredibly eventful episode. We finished up what was going on with Ashen Maw. We learned a little bit of what Eothas wants. We don't really know his motives beyond it, but he wants to destroy the wheel. And he wants to force an age of Kith and gods understanding each other rather than Kith worshipping gods as gods. And I think that is as good a place as any to stop, and we'll have to make our decision next time we play. But for now, thank you as always for joining me. As always, I would love to hear from you. There's a lot of things to think about here, and I know maybe I got a few things wrong, so if you have any clarifications, that also, or if you disagree with anything I said, wouldn't mind hearing that either. And yeah, I hope to see you again in the next one, and I hope you join me then for more sentences and paragraphs. Bye, everybody.